all week long. I mean, this is International Fight Week. It's a big deal. You got a history of loading up the card, but all week long, things just weren't going the way you might have thought they were, where the main event was going to be the most attractive match. It just wasn't happening. Or you think the co-main event, which is a fantastic match, by the way, and we will certainly get to you think that's going to be one of the more anticipated matches. It just wasn't happening. The fans double-crossed everybody. It was Masvidal and Askren. And it won me over too. I will tell you, as a fan, that was the main event for me. I mean, in terms of that is the attraction, that is the one. I will be in my seat. My eyeballs will be locked on that cage. I will not blink unless I have to. That was the match. So this was very interesting for a few reasons. First of which, and I trust by now, guys, that we're all up to speed, okay? Record-setting knockout, 5 seconds, Askren's out, Masvidal wins. Great. We understand that. Couple of things are getting lost here, though. When that fight started, it was a flying knee by Masvidal. He sprints across the ring. Askren's changing elevation at the last set, right when they get close, right where a wrestler would change elevation to look to penetrate, exactly what Askren did. Masvidal leaves planet Earth, jumps into the air, and throws a knee that would have knocked out a regular-sized pony. So, of course, Askren goes down. Lucky knee, quick match, whatever. Not the point, guys. And I don't want any of you to miss this, okay? Masvidal gets full credit. Guys don't even want to fight Askren. And even if what a difference a day makes and everybody just saw him lose for the first time and now somebody starts calling him out and thinking they want... Guys, nobody ever wanted to fight Askren. Masvidal had the balls and walked out there and did it, okay, to start with. He then had a game plan of which he executed in less than 5. Masvidal gets credit. Make sure you give it to him. But don't miss this or you'll miss the whole thing. Masvidal at the beginning of that fight for almost 1 entire second, which represents 20% of the contest, turned to walk away. And he had both hands behind his back when he did it, okay? Now, Masvidal all week long was working this hands behind his back gimmick. I just thought it was brilliant because it's an old pro wrestler move. And I know Masvidal didn't steal this from anybody. He thought this was his sign of I can be trusted, right? I had an incident with Leon Edwards, but I don't want there to be anybody mistaken here. Here are my hands, and they are behind my back. I am in a posture and a position of defense. A posture in a position of anti-aggressive. My hands are behind my back. Now, that's comical to the highest of levels because Masvidal's fast as lightning, and don't think for a second he won't pull one of them, okay? I mean, it's not like they're handcuffed. He willfully placed them there. But it's a piece of theater that he began working all week, and because of what had happened with Leon. So it's great. But I couldn't help but think of the pro wrestlers that used to do it. Did you guys see that bit? This bit kind of went away in the 80s, but a pro wrestler, the bad guy, would put both hands behind his back in front of the good guy. And then he would bring one hand forward to shake the good guy's hands while leaving the other hand behind his back, as though that hand is, again, cuffed, as though it's behind his back unwillfully. The good guy would look at the audience left, and he'd look right, and the audience would be trying to tell him, no, don't do it, it's a trap. And pretty soon the good guy, because he's a good guy, has to reach out and make the handshake, at which point the bad guy keeps his hand, kicks him in the stomach with his free foot, and then brings the other hand back over. Okay, but this happened like every single Saturday. It was just a move, it was just a thing. They did it in pro wrestling, and that's why the crowd could get so invested to beg and plead with the good guy to not fall for it once again. But he'd always fall for it again until next Saturday. So it was just very humorous to me that Masvidal thought because his hands were behind his back, he was fooling anybody. But he does it all week long. He does it he will not break from this. And he never pulled the double cross. He put his hands there willfully, but he kept them there the entire time. He would say his piece, he would look at his opponent, but he had no acts of aggression whatsoever. When the fight starts, let's go back to this. And I'm telling you, right when the fight starts and the camera was only there for a second or less, and I feel that people miss this. Are you ready? Are you ready? Great, fight! Askren comes right across at him, as you would. Masvidal places both hands behind his back, turns his profile to Askren. Now, he's safe to do this. Askren is about 25 feet away from him as he's getting closer by the moment. And Masvidal takes a step away from Askren. And there is a brief moment where you as the viewer goes, did Masvidal not hear the ref when he said fight? Masvidal looks like he's walking. Does Masvidal think the announcements are, what's happening? And that's all in less than a second, but your mind goes to 4 or 5 different places, okay? Now, the art of any great magician is look at this hand so you don't see what this hand is doing. It's very basic. A distraction, a feint in fighting, a flinch before you go for the attack, just to get that moments of pause from your opponent. That's all you need. That's all you need in an ass-whipping contest. Masvidal drops his hands behind his back to show that he was not aggressive and turned and took one step away to show that he can be trusted. He then turned back on a full sprint and all hell broke loose. But if you miss, and if you did miss that moment, it will be even harder for you to give Masvidal the credit that he deserves. He did come in there with a plan, and he did do it against a killer who 19 men on this earth have tried to bring down, and 19 men couldn't even win a round. Big deal by Masvidal. And he did have a plan, and he did have a set. So many times we have seen fights, guys, where one guy wins in a surprising fashion. Sometimes it's a comeback, sometimes it's a surprise knockout, sometimes it's defensively, and his opponent will do something and hurt himself. And the other guy will always try to take credit and go, oh, no, I knew that. I was trying to set him up. And go see George Foreman versus Michael Moore. George Foreman to this day, and God bless him, but he will make believe that he had that fight all planned out. Get his ass kicked for 30 minutes, all just to lure Moore into a right hit. Man, he threw a punch and it happened to land. That's what happened. Guys will always re-engineer reality to help to fit their narrative. They always do it. They never come clean and just go, yeah, I caught him. Good hard match. Let's move on to the next one. Never. Masvidal is telling people, no, I planned that. I set that up. I really did. That was a strategy. I studied. This is what Coach Mike Brown and I wanted to do. But many of you are meeting with resistance. Go, come on, you ran across, you jumped up, he came down, you guys collided. Yeah, that's true, that did happen, but it is also true that he planned it. And he has absolute evidence on tape, which is the first second where he puts his hands behind his back and starts to walk away. And I swear to you, call me a conspiracy theorist, but I think Masvidal laid that trap all week long. I think all week he went out of his way to do this. My hands are behind my back. I can be trusted. I'm not here for it to do any harm to anybody. I think he laid the trap through the media all week long.